All right, disclaimer guys, warning, I am not a professional. I'm just a homeowner who's been through 5 floods. Well, soon to be 5. 4 floods, soon to be 5. I just wanted to share my experience with you guys and what I personally do when I think we're gonna flood. This is not recommendations. This is not advice. This is my experience. This is my story. So do not take everything I say literally. If your county and state representatives, the authorities, are telling you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. And listen to all the guidelines from the Hurricane Center and all the other weather professionals out there. I am not a weatherman. I am not a safety representative, an insurance agent. I'm none of this stuff. I have no affiliation with anything. Just a dude who's about to flood. So please do your own thing, do what's right, do what's safe. Do not do what I do. That said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. It is about what I do to prepare for a flood. Incoming flood, we have Hurricane Milton coming in less than 48 hours. It'll be here, so I am finishing up prepping, and hope you guys enjoy. Maybe you'll glean something, maybe you'll get some tips that you didn't know about, or if you're a first-time homeowner in Florida, welcome to the Sunshine State, baby. Should be renamed to the Flood State, because it seems to be more floods than sunshine lately. Anyway guys, enjoy. What is going on, everybody? Well, we survived Hurricane Helene here in St. Augustine, but now we have Hurricane Milton coming. And just based on past experience and comparing it to similar hurricanes, I'm pretty sure our house is gonna flood. This is not our first rodeo. I've flooded 4 times in this home. This will be number 5. So I figured I would take the time to go ahead and create a video on steps that you can do or to help you survive a flood and mitigate a flood, and then if you do flood, what to do after that, step by step, as far as insurance, you know, contractors, step by step on what to do as far as, you know, drying out the home and refurbishing the home. So yeah, so this video is going to be a step by step from the beginning, before we flood, during the flooding, and after the flooding. And yeah, so this is our home. We have we flooded 4 times. So the first one was in 2016, Hurricane Matthew. We had about 17 inches inside the home, so that was about where the electrical plugs are. And then a year later, Hurricane Irma came, cut across the state in 2017 and flooded us again. We had about 10 inches in the house. And oh, there's Panther Cat. Say hello, Panther. Meow, meow, meow. Poor Panther's been through some floods too. Yeah, we're gonna flood again, buddy. And then yeah, just recently, 2022, this home flooded for Hurricane Ian, which that's the one I'm comparing this Hurricane Milton to. Ian hit southwest Florida around Captiva, Sanibel Island, Port Charlotte area as a Cat 4, and cut kind of northeast across the state, came out, you know, around the Cape. And we got about 6 inches in the home for that. And then about a month later, we flooded again for Hurricane Nicole in 2022. So, you know, I was really excited because because we had refurbished the home so quick for Hurricane Ian. We flooded, I think September 29th, and we've gotten so efficient at remodeling and getting our home back, put back together, that we moved back in about a month later, which is insane. So that's all new insulation, drywall, trim, baseboards, doors, door jambs, paint, all that stuff. And got back in the house in about a month. And then we were moved back in for about a week and we flooded again. So we actually worked too fast. But in our defense, it was November when we flooded for Hurricane Nicole. I think it was November 9th, which is crazy. I know hurricane season goes through the end of November, but I've never seen a hurricane that strong in November, especially the second week of November. But anyway, guys, yeah, so we got some XP in this. This is what I do. I know it's not it might not be the most efficient, smartest, best way to do it, but as far as speed and getting back in your home, this is the steps that we do. And you know, we kind of do it every time there's a potential for flooding. So yeah, let's get into this. Let's go step by step. All right, so step one, you want to get pictures of your whole house, guys. Inside and outside, every bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, everything. You want to get a picture of everything. If you have furniture that you care a lot about and you're worried is going to flood, take a picture of it. Vehicles, take pictures of your vehicles. The outside of your home, anything outside, sheds, boats, you know, anything that's of value, pools. I don't have a pool, so I don't have to worry about it, but you know, you want to get out there, you want pictures. Everything, as much pictures, even videos as possible. You know, that's what's going to help with the insurance. You get a before picture of everything and an after picture. So your before pictures has to be of everything. So inside, outside, all four corners of the house. I would get up on the roof, take pictures of the roof, which I haven't done yet, I need to do. Your air conditioner, your AC units. This one's up high, but just a warning, guys, this is not concrete. My neighbors, the last flood, this is made of styrofoam, and you got to weigh this thing down. We had about 2 feet of flood water, and hers floated up and fell over, and the whole outside air conditioning unit was on its side the next morning. So anyway, take pictures of that. Hot water heater, any of your major appliances, plumbing, circuit breaker panel, like I said, vehicles. I've lost 2 vehicles to flooding. We've gotten smart, and you know, we move our vehicles now to higher ground. Okay, so step 2, after taking pictures of everything, the house, the personal belongings, all that, the next thing is to start moving stuff. So for us, you can see we have a 2-story home. So a lot of the small inside stuff, we just moved to the 2nd floor. The garage, we put stuff up high. I'm expecting at least a foot of flood water. So anything that's below my knees, if I don't care too much about it, it's probably gonna flood. So I basically raise everything up above knee level. Again, get pictures of your hot water heater, AC unit, all that. start raising everything up. So this is the garage. All right, so right now we're prepping the inside. We're bringing all the small items upstairs, starting to get things off all the shelves and the walls and all that stuff. We're boxing up everything. So what we would do and what we've done in the past is we would rent a U-Haul, and we would load the U-Haul up with all the big furniture and everything else that we can't fit upstairs. What we do now is we actually, anything that's too big or heavy to move upstairs, we put up on concrete blocks. Like I said, I'm expecting about 6 inches of flood water inside the home. So I will get some cinder blocks, put the couch and the ottoman up on cinder blocks, probably pile all that furniture on top of that. Some of this furniture is kind of throwaway stuff. So if there's not room upstairs or nowhere else to put it, we'll probably just let it flood. Some of your wood furniture might not be damaged, but if it's anything valuable, I would try and either save it. If you don't mind moving your furniture, doing the U-Haul thing, it's smart, it's easy, basically guarantees nothing's gonna get flooded or damaged. So we've done that. It's just you got to spend all day loading up the U-Haul, and then when the flood is over, you need a place to put everything. So you either need a storage unit or you move it out of the U-Haul back into your house or garage. That becomes a pain in the butt. So we just, put everything on blocks at this point. So, anything that is a value, pictures, photo albums, things you can't replace, you want to make sure you get that up high, upstairs, away from the floodwaters. So the next step is, we'll get more into that as the system nears, but it would be basically to make sure nothing's plugged in, everything's up on blocks. You don't want your electronics, if the floodwaters do get above the electrical outlets, whatever's plugged in and has power is probably going to get shorted out, and electronics are going to, TVs, Xboxes, all that stuff will be destroyed. All right, so appliances, we don't typically move or try and save the appliances. The fridge is going to flood, stove's going to flood. All the guts on the stove is up top, so that should be okay. But what you do want to do is close your breakers. Open the breakers. You want to remove power from your appliances. That'll help save them. But if they do flood, your insurance does pay for those. So if they flood and they don't work anymore, you will be reimbursed through your insurance for your appliances. All right, so a good rule of thumb, you guys, is anything below your knees. I know we won't get more than 2 feet of water in the house, so kind of doing anything above or below waist deep, we're putting up higher. So the smaller stuff we put in boxes and moved upstairs, rolled up any rugs on the first floor, and we'll bring those upstairs. And anything else that we don't want to bring upstairs, we're just going to put up on blocks and make sure anything else is just at a waist high level. All right, so after you finish step one, which is take pictures of your house, your belongings, every room, any vehicles, boats, RVs, all that stuff, all your appliances, AC, hot water heater, all that stuff. You need all that for this next step, which is step 3, and that's to get all your insurance in place. So you're going to want your contact information and paperwork for your flood insurance. You're going to want the contact email address for FEMA. You're going to want to know the website for FEMA, where you would go and apply for assistance if you do flood. I'll show you that here in a minute. You're going to want your car insurances, your homeowner's insurance, all of that. If you use a local agent, make sure you have their number. You're going to want to call them as soon as they're available after you flood to go ahead and get your claim into the system. It does take a lot of time. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of other people that are going to be submitting their claims. So the sooner you can get into the system, the better. So once you have all of that information, all of your paperwork for all of your insurances, you're going to want to go and check out the FEMA disaster assistance website. So if you type in FEMA disaster assistance into Google, it'll take you to this website, disasterassistance.gov. That website is going to be where you would submit your claim with FEMA. Again, they will help you if you don't have flood insurance. They'll give you some money up front just to help you with temporary shelter, food, supplies, that sort of thing. So the next step after you get all your paperwork and insurance in order, what we would normally do is try and find a place to stay. If we know we're going to flood, in the past we have contacted some condos to stay in that do monthly rentals during the renovations. If you have friends or family that have space available, or perhaps a home or a condo that they rent out, you want to get that in order. We know we're going to flood this time, so our plan is to stay at a family friend's Airbnb. He agreed to do a month to month rental for us, and that's going to work out. In the past, we've gotten condos on a month by month basis. That was also fine. But yeah, anyway, that's step 4, is to come up with a plan on where you're going to stay after you flood and you're doing the renovation work. Howdy, up on the roof now. So step 5, which really should be up there with step 1, is to get your timelines down. So you got to know when the worst of the winds are going to be. For me, I got to know when the high tide is. So for this storm in particular, Hurricane Milton, we have a high tide here at around 2 a.m. Thursday, and then another high tide around 2 to 3 p.m. Thursday afternoon. Those are the two that I'm worried about the most. If I'm gonna flood, it's gonna be part of those 2 high tides. So I know I gotta get everything done and completed by 2 a.m. on Thursday. That's gonna be the worst of it for me. It's really windy up here. So anyway, you're gonna want to get the pictures of your roof and all that before the winds start kicking up too much. But yeah, so for me, like I said, timelines. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's actually a nice view. I have the marsh right behind our house, so I could probably throw a baseball here and hit the marsh. It's that right there, and that's where the floodwaters for me come from, is that marsh back there. So I know once I start seeing that water rising for high tide, I'm in trouble, and I better hurry and finish all the rest of the steps that I'm going to go over with you guys. But timeline, very important to get that kind of in your head. Now it's going to change as they update the storm. It has changed for us already. I thought we were going to start getting the winds earlier. Everything's shifted now about 6 to 12 hours because the storm's taking a little longer. But anyway, it's nice to know the high tides. Now, people in Tampa, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't think the tide's going to matter when that thing hits. You're getting 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. I don't care if it's high tide or low tide. You guys are, you're in trouble no matter what. So that sucks. I'm sorry feel really bad. But for me, the tide is going to make the biggest difference. If it's high tide during the worst of the winds, that's just determines how many more inches or feet we get in our house. If the worst of the winds coincide with a low tide or a downswing towards a low tide, we might not even flood. So it just depends. Here in St. Augustine, the tidal swing is 4 to 5 feet on a normal day. So if it hits at low tide and we have a 5-foot storm surge, we might not even flood. You never know. I'm hoping for the best. I still got a feeling we're gonna flood, but if we do, you guys get to see it all. So anyways, move on to the next step. All right, after you got all your valuables and everything else up off the floor, the next thing is to kind of go through your normal hurricane procedure. So strapping down anything that's outside, sheds, toys, furniture, get all that stuff kind of situated as you would do at any other storm. If you got a boat or an RV, I would suggest probably moving it. I think out here the floodwater might get up to the boat, so if it does float around a little bit, it'll be all right, but it's in this enclosed area, so I'm not even gonna move my boat. But if you have a nice fancy boat and you're worried about it, I would move it. Same with an RV, golf cart, all that stuff. Yeah, so get your normal storm procedure going. Next step, I think we're on what, 6 or 7 now? Step 7, get familiar with your breaker panel. All right, if you're planning on leaving, I would recommend, especially if you think the floodwater is going to be above the electrical outlets throughout the house, turning off those breakers. I would turn off the one for your refrigerator. I would turn it off for your stove, dishwasher, any large appliance, washer, dryer, all of that stuff if you haven't moved that out of the flood zone. Only reason I'm saying that, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, because your insurance will pay for all that stuff. If you lose it, they'll pay for it. However, I have been told, and this happened to me last time, my fridge and stove and everything flooded, but since it still worked, they weren't going to pay for it. So I would recommend just shutting off power to it, just in case. If you're not worried about it, then whatever, it is what it is. It's going to flood. I did have a fridge during the one flood that stopped working. So we lost everything in the fridge anyway. Same with this dishwasher. Stoves seem to hold up pretty good, but since that's a high amperage circuit, I'd be worried about electrical short or even electrocuting yourself if you stay in the home and are walking around the kitchen. So if you're gonna leave, turn off breakers. If you're gonna stay, turn off the essential breakers. The only one that I would recommend leaving on, whether you stay or leave, is the air conditioning. And I do this because, like I showed you, unless I get feet of storm surge in here, my air handler is still going to work. The outside compressor unit is still going to work. So the AC should still work as long as I have power. And what that's going to do is help dry out your home after it floods. That's that'll be part 2 of this video series, is what to do during and right after a flood. You're going to want to dry the house out as fast as you can. It only takes a few days for mold to start growing. It might even take less than 24 hours for mold to start growing. That water's nasty. You're going to want to dry it out. Having your AC on and having it pumping is going to help dry out the home. But we'll go over this in the next video. This is just the prep video of what to do. All right, so step number 8, I think. 8? Yeah, sure. If you're not evacuating the home, you got to do something with your vehicles. You don't want to leave it in the garage. That's probably the lowest point in your house, and for us that is. So I've lost 2 vehicles. I've lost my truck, and then we lost my wife's car in 2 separate floods by leaving them in the garage. Not smart, guys. There's a place in our neighborhood just down the road. It's up a lot higher. It never floods. I drive the vehicles down to that area and leave them there. Yes, they're exposed to the elements. Yes, they're exposed to the wind. But if I leave them at our house or near our house, they are going to flood. Guaranteed. So for me, I move my vehicles. If you have RVs, campers, golf carts, you know, any vehicle, boat, RV, that's valuable and you don't want to flood and you know your yard floods, get it out of there. That might be common sense, but some people forget about stuff like that, or they hope that it being in their garage is safe. But the garage is the lowest point in the house typically, so you don't want to leave it there. The last step, well, not the last step, but one of the last steps is if you are evacuating, you need to get your pets. I know, you know, some people might be like, well, duh, but we have an outside cat, you know, one-eyed panther. He is the star of a lot of my shorts. We have a lot of fun making videos with him. He's an outside cat, and he's hard to find sometimes. You know, we try and keep him in during the hurricanes, and he hates it, but we know it's going to flood, so we force him to stay in. If we're going to evacuate, we're going to bring him with us. I would not recommend leaving your cats or any of your other pets. If you have lizards and snakes and all that stuff, you don't want to bring them around. Guys, bring your pets, because you might not be able to get back to your house for days, and there might not be power. It might be full of stinky, nasty flood water, mold by the time you get back. So take care of your pets, guys. I know that's common sense. I shouldn't have to say that, but it's important. And the final step that I would recommend, other than sitting in your living room on a cinder block and waiting for the floodwaters to come, is, you know, follow your typical evacuation orders. If they tell you to evacuate, it's probably smart. My wife and kids don't usually stay in the home. We stayed the one time for Hurricane Irma, and it was pretty traumatizing. My wife's walking around in knee-deep floodwater with a 6-month-old on her hip. That wasn't very smart, guys. It was probably traumatizing and scary. My son was only, I think, 5 years old when that happened. So yeah, don't, you know, if you can evacuate, at least get your family out of there, get them somewhere safe. Follow any evacuation procedures that you normally would for a hurricane. I always stay. Mostly, I'm not scared of the winds. I'm not scared of, you know, any of that, at least not for this storm. The winds are only going to be about 60, 70 something miles an hour. Yeah, I'll probably get roof damage. Yeah, things might be blown around. I have wind-proof windows, hurricane-proof windows. I just know we're going to flood, and I want to be here to help dry out the home as quick as possible. So as soon as those floodwaters start departing, I'm putting holes in the walls to get some air into the walls, get that wet insulation out. I might even start removing some of the drywalls, because it's so easy now, because the drywall is already pre-cut to a certain height. It's very easy to rip that out and get that insulation. That insulation wicks up the water and holds it forever. You do not want to leave that in there. You leave that in your walls, 24 hours you're gonna have mold growing. It's gonna be nasty. So I stay to help get that. I mop up the water, squeegee it all out of the house, get everything drying as fast as I can, so that I can get to a point where I can start ripping out the drywall and getting the wood insulation out. It's important. Is it, completely necessary? Probably not. I mean, you're gonna have some mold no matter what, because you're gonna miss places. But for me, getting it dry and then spraying it with some anti-mold bleach solution just helps guarantee that I can keep the house mold free and be one step closer to putting the house back together. The demo doesn't take long, just a few days to get everything demoed, and I'll go over that when it happens, what we do, how we do it. But we got to flood first, guys, so we'll I hope we don't flood, but if we do flood, I'll show you what we do. And it's nothing special, guys. It's just, this is my process, this is what we do, this is how we do it. It sucks. That's why I look so old. 5 floods. Yeah, is what it is. So I'll do a little outro video here, me sitting on the couch right before the flood. I'll have my swimmies on, flippers, snorkeling mask, maybe even a fishing pole. I had some fish in the one flood, so we'll see what happens. So what I also like to do, and this isn't really a step, but is check your flood gauge. So my gauge are these interconnecting ditches that eventually make their way out to the intercoastal, but they're tidal. And right now it is high tide here, and I can already tell these things are up a lot higher than normal. So this is 2 days before the storm gets here. We've been getting pounded with these northeast winds, and the tide is already really high here. And in fact, you can see by the movement of the leaves and everything, I think the tide is still coming in. So it's about 2:30 here. These ditches run about an hour and a half behind the main tide. So my gauge is going to be the top of that. So it's almost over the culvert. So once they go over this ditch right here and over the street, that's when my house gets screwed. Now this home over here, no one lives here, but they're about 6 inches lower than we are. So they start flooding first. They're the lowest house in the neighborhood, and then us. But anyway, this is going to be my gauge that will follow. Yeah, so these ditches are already pretty high. So right now, we're right at about 3 sandbags down at the peak. So I'll check it later tonight and see if it's getting better or worse. It's probably just going to keep getting worse and worse, guys. So I can almost guarantee you that we are going to flood. Right now we have east winds at about 25, 30 miles an hour, maybe gusts a little higher than that, and the water's already high. Not a good sign. Not a good sign, guys. It's too much water already in the intercoastal, so we're gonna have 2 more days of relentless northeast winds. It's gonna be a bad one. flood time again. Whew. Almost forgot one of the other most important steps. And again, this can be in between any of the other steps, but probably throw it in there with the insurance. Let's throw it in there with the insurance. Getting all your insurance in order, phone numbers, emails, contacts, all of that, super important. If you haven't already, you need to get some contractors lined up. Unless you can do the work yourself. Me, drywalling is the bane of everyone's existence, and trying to find good drywallers is a nightmare. I have a few people that I've used in the past. I have their phone numbers and contact information, so the moment we flood, after I submit my claim with the insurance, is to reach out to those guys and see if they're available and when they're available, and try and get something set up for them. Like I said, for me, you're going to spend the first week probably demoing, moving your furniture and stuff, getting all that out of the way, getting the home dry, getting all the wood insulation out, all the debris and material out to the curb for the trash. But at least reach out to your contractors. And oh, by the way, the flood insurance only covers your lower cabinets. So if you want new cabinets, they're only going to pay for the lower ones. So you either got to find the exact matching ones for the top again, or replace everything on your own dime. So anyway, contractors, very important. Get those lined up, get the numbers, get the contacts. Okay guys, I just got done. I have my blocks. These are just landscaping blocks. I think they're about 4 or 5 inches tall, maybe a little less, but I'm gonna double stack these for the couch and other large items downstairs. So put the couch, some dressers, TV stands, stuff like that on top of these blocks. Try and get them at least 7-8 inches off the ground, so when the waters do come, the furniture is not flooded. Like I said, if you have anything that's metal, I would get it off the ground. It's gonna rust. Solid wood objects seem to hold up pretty good, especially if they have a nice layer of paint on them. But the cheap particle board, you know, the whatever it's called, the manufactured boards that you would get, you know, on cheaper furniture, that stuff does tend to swell up. So if the legs get wet or any portion of it get wet, it's gonna start swelling up and cracking the paint, and it's gonna look like crap. So that stuff I would get off the floor, take it up to 2nd story, or get it off the ground with bricks like I'm doing. And anyway, I'll show you the finished product in the next video, right before the floodwaters come. All right, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna try the next video. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for the next video, guys, because it's gonna be right before the flood, and during the flood, and post-flood. So I might even go live during the flood if I still have Wi-Fi. You guys can check out what's going on live. I'll probably just be sitting on my staircase staring at the floodwater, so it might be fun to go live with you guys. You guys can make fun of me, call me a moron, tell me I'm stupid. Why the heck are you still in that house if you flooded 4 going on 5 times? I'm a glutton for punishment, guys. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you guys got some insights, some good information, and we'll see you in about a day or two when the waters come and I'm squeegeeing the floors and drying them off. So let's get it on. See ya. Thank you for watching.